Selena Fox,
Yes, dear.
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I've
All
been
right.
well.
Well,
Yeah,
I've been
been well.
waiting. I've been actually waiting a long time to have this talk with you because, I when I wanted to, I started the YouTube. I'm starting the YouTube channel, just basically conversations with interesting people, and you're you're interesting. And you're always hosting, and I figured let's get you out of the hostess chair and get into some stuff. And I'm excited. So I'm glad this worked out. I know you're busy. You're mom, all the things you're doing.
Yeah.
How's everything going right now?
Things are going good. My little one's about to turn 4, Easter weekend. So
Wow.
that's a big, big milestone. He's super excited about it. He keeps telling everybody he's 4, and then he says, "In April." "I'm 4 in April." And I'm like, "Yeah."
I,
So
I
that's a big thing.
right on. Well, I mean, I can't. Oh man, I think. Can I even remember my fourth birthday? Oh wow, I think it's been a while. So no. Um, how many kids do you have?
I have 2 biological children.
Okay.
And I've raised a total of 5 children. Um,
Wow.
but I have 2 that I have birthed myself.
Mm.
So they are,
Well,
they're 18 and 4,
wow.
and, my other children are what year is this? This is 2026, are 25
Allegedly.
and 26 this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Right,
Well,
allegedly, I know. It might
uh,
actually only be, what, 1,026?
1026. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to get into that because, Lena, you're the host. You host the Carnivore Community Worldwide Live, and I've noticed some things just getting to know you and following you, and the car conversations, which I love.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
And it seems to be deeper than the carnivore diet. And I know we're
Mm.
both kind of inundated in this community, which is great. And I think there's it's awesome to have kindred spirits. But I think
Yeah.
what I've been noticing, especially in my journey, is the spiritual awakening that I've had.
Mm.
And you get a lot of pushback with people because people think that even I was questioning it. I felt so good for being a carnivore for X amount of time, and then you start running into spiritual
Yeah.
gurus, so to speak,
Mm.
that are all frugivores and plant-based. And it
Yes.
seems like everywhere you look, it's like this is the wrong thing to do. And
Right.
you know even having conversations with people that are basically not, I don't want to say, not necessarily personally, but they're saying murdering animals is bad.
Mhm. Right.
And how do you feel about that? Because what I've found with your car conversation specifically is you're talking from a different place. it's
Mm.
it's from the spiritual place. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about all that stuff?
So I grew up in a very different family environment, in a very different, sort of awareness. I did go through a very typical, religious experience. As far as when I say typical religious experience, and I don't mean like an epiphany experience. I mean, my grandfather is a Southern Baptist minister.
Okay.
My grandmother's Pentecostal holiness. Um, my
Christian.
yeah, my dear associates growing up, like people in our close circles, very, very standard religion.
Mm,
But there are lots of flaws.
mm,
And um, sort of, what is it when something contradicts itself? Lots of
yeah.
contradictions. And I was very fortunate that um, my mother wanted answers, and
Mm,
she wanted to know, and she didn't understand. And coming from a very like standard religious perspective, because I'm not against any one belief in their system and what they choose.
yeah.
but there were a lot of things that happened to her, to me, to our family in
Mm,
general that just kind of made you question the paradigm of how could God let
mm,
this happen
mhm.
if this was all of that? So, to kind of sidetrack a little bit,
That's
that
good.
allowed me to grow up in a place where instead of the same type of environment that my mom was raised in, which was very strict and very dogmatic, she
Mhm.
allowed me the freedom to educate and explore and to learn outside of the box of parameters that she grew up in.
Okay.
And I have always been a very stubborn and justice-oriented person. Um, since I was little, it didn't matter if I knew what it was, but if I knew that it was wrong,
Mm.
I was gonna fight to my dying breath
Mhm.
for it, even if it wasn't for me.
Mhm.
And that was something that happened for me a lot. I have studied many religions and many scriptures, and I mean, not very many people can say that, they've read the Bible front to back. I
Yeah.
have twice. Not many
Yeah,
people can say, like, you know
I'm I'm right now on round 2 with Fleur, like, we're because
Yeah,
you know, I yeah, and I feel you because I don't wanna say I'm not dogging religion, and I'm not dogging faith, and I don't wanna, like,
right.
disrespect anybody's beliefs, but I when I read the Bible, it was later in my life, and I was searching, just something was going on, but I actually read it front to back, and
Mhm.
two things popped out was the Old Testament and the New Testament are completely different. Like,
Oh, different
it
worlds,
does not make sense.
different worlds.
Then, as I was starting to question things, I did the same thing. I looked into some Indian traditions, like a lot of different the Bhagavad Gita, stuff like that. And now, this actually, the Nag Hammadi scriptures, which
Mhm.
from the Gnostic perspective, this is where I was like, I have questions. Like, this is
Yeah.
not. I don't want to say that the church is bad. I just want to say that
Mhm.
I myself, and now Fleur, because we've been together, I take all these things in, and I kind of try and parse out the information, the patterns, and when
Mhm.
people start talking the Bible, it's like you said, like, we've been told that this is the book. They're just whatever. I'm
Right.
telling you that this is what it is. And now,
Mhm.
since Fleur and I have been reading the Bible together, she's seeing it too. She's seeing, like, how there's things that just don't add up. And I think
Yeah,
I think everybody, hey, read the book. Like, I think that's awesome.
exactly.
Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off
No,
there,
no,
but I'm
exactly.
but
There's, I I came to a point in my life to kind of maybe fast forward a little bit where I I gained an awareness that there is definitely a Christ conscious perspective, which is different than a religious belief.
mm,
And that part is kind of hard for some people to kind of wrap their head around, that
yeah,
there are not many teachings in different religions that are not telling the same story. And that you kind of start to go, okay, if this
yeah,
is this over here and this is this over here, and it's like, well, yes, they have different names. And
mm,
yes, they glorify different aspects of the story. But if you really break it all down to the bones, it's the same story. It's the
yeah,
same ethical awareness.
mm,
And that was kind of like the big kick in the ass for me, which I'm very fortunate happened at a very young age for me. Very fortunate. Confusing, it ostracized me quite a bit because,
yeah,
I got kicked out of school when I was 13 because I was in a non-denominational Christian private school, and,
okay,
I would argue my Bible study teacher. I would be like, well, that's not what this scripture says, and that's not what this. How can you state this? How can this be, this if we just learned last week, like this doesn't add up. 1 and 1 is not making 2 or 4, whichever you want to believe.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
so, it was like this doesn't make sense. And my big kickoff, which is hilarious, mind you, I've told you kind of my growing up background of what our frame rate sort of was with religion.
Mm.
There was a question on a test, and this ended up getting me kicked out of my school. There was a question on our test that said, "Which religion teaches false teachings?" And I refused to
Oh,
answer it. Yeah. I was
wow.
like, "This
Yeah.
is immoral." Like, I don't care whether I agree with the answer or not. I don't care
Mm.
whether or not it's going to cost me to have a failing grade. Like, I did not care. It was like, this is immoral to even request this answer from me. And I wrote on my test, due to my own moral beliefs, I choose not to answer this question. I accept any and all deductions from my test.
Yeah.
I think pretty straightforward, pretty like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm not answering this one. That made my Bible study teacher so livid that he literally got up. He would grade tests when you turn them in. He got
Mm.
up, he slammed his hands on my table and demanded that I would answer the question. And I was like, I
Wow.
can't. I can't. The answer he was wanting was Mormonism. And at the
Yeah.
time, I didn't even know what that was. I was 13.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had never even heard of that
Yeah.
yet. Like, it wasn't in my field, but it was like, how can I, at the time, a very strong Christian-based person, right,
Mhm.
morally take judgment against someone else's faith? And in all reality, we are all walking this by faith, which means there's no fucking proof,
Yes. Yes.
technically. It's by
Technically.
faith. And
Yeah.
how can you tell me that
Yeah.
I have to require and damnation another person's belief system when I
Yeah.
myself am walking purely by faith?
Yeah.
It was like that was the trigger for me. I was like, "Helmet off. What is the answer? What is going on in this system? Because this is wrong."
Yeah.
And that lit a fire in my ass I can't even tell you, Tony.
Oh, no. There's so many like metaphors there, especially with what's going on right now. And just,
Mhm.
instead
Yeah.
of like celebrating your ability to actually critically think at that stage in
Mm.
your life
Oh,
should
yeah.
be the greatest part of it.
Right.
If anything, that should have been the passing grade. Like, you get to skip 3 grades. Like, that is what it's all about, right?
Not what happened.
And you can like, that's full on indoctrination and programming, and
Mhm.
that's where I
Yeah.
feel it too. And I I've seen so many biblical debates from, just from, and lectures from different opinions, and I see the same thing. I see the same thing as I do in the carnivore space, where
Mhm.
all this information is what we're supposed to believe. Somebody
Right.
who is part of it, like, like deacon. A good example is Paul Wallace. I don't know if you know Paul Wallace, who was a deacon of the Australian church. He was a
Oh,
big,
yeah, yeah.
big, big player in their political system, the church. And
Yeah.
he basically he started seeing that, this doesn't make sense. And now he's questioning, paleo contact, like aliens. And he's coming from the Christian faith because he has you know, these, why would he do that? And that's what I gravitate to, the outliers. Selena, when
Mhm.
you question that and I'm around you, I want to know why you're thinking that. That's
Mhm.
amazing,
Right.
you know? And I
It's it's something that is shut down in people
mm,
because ultimately the human mindset is afraid of change.
mm,
It's something my mom taught me as, um, the brain is just a tool. It's nothing more. We
mm,
are not our brain. We are not our body. It is just a tool that's helping to run the mechanism of this vehicle we are choosing to be embodied in.
Yep.
The brain wants to keep you alive, and it functions in a very binary format.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, no, safe, harm, safe, harm. There's no like, oh, gray areas with it. It doesn't process that way. It processes very, systematically like a computer. Give it this information, it outputs what it feels is best, right?
Yeah.
If you tell yourself constantly over and over and over anything,
Mm.
your brain, and this is by several people who have studied neuroscience and gone for it, will try to prove it right. It will
Hmm.
try to give you exactly what you are programming it to be. It
Yeah.
wants that answer because it wants to be right. It
Mm.
wants to protect. It wants to do its job, and its job is to keep you alive. Well, if keeping you alive means that, you're definitely overweight, or, I always stub my toe every time I walk by the door. Well, guess what? You're probably always gonna fucking stub your toe every time you walk by that door, like baseboard or whatever. Like like,
Yeah.
as weird as that sounds, the reality is the brain is just a tool.
Mm.
And when people don't allow themselves to be able to accept the possibility of things outside of their box, outside of their little blinder window that they're looking through, it's they can't allow anything that's different, and they can't allow change because it might completely crumble their entire existence, and that's scary for people.
Yeah. Well, I see it all the time with we'll just label it for now, the awakened ones, the ones that are starting to wake up. And you see that, like, I think David Icke said it best, where you have your awareness and you've expanded your horizons a little bit. And then you think you're on this awakened path, but then something comes along and no, that's a red line. Like, there is no
Mhm,
going past it. And a good example right now is, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't really want to get into politics, but if you look at the Trump situation and look
mhm,
what he got elected on and how he rallied the people together for something, and now
mhm,
he's doing the exact thing that he said he wouldn't do. I'm not right
mhm.
or left. I'm just like
Same.
calling it out. Like, what the hell is this, man?
Mhm,
Like, we're all these people,
yeah,
right? And I kind of defended him because I didn't think he was Hitler, but we're all those people that were screaming about, this is just like, this is the madness that we're dealing with, where if your
mhm,
line is there, you can't see past your own face, and that's not
exactly.
good.
No, it's not, and that is such a scary way to live, and they think it's so scary over here, and I have to say, it's more frustrating than it is scary. I mean, it
I,
can
I
be
would
scary, don't get
try
me
living in
wrong, but
Canada, man. Whoa, like,
yeah, but I'm the same with you. I'm not right or left or blue or red or blah, 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 whatever. I'm not any of that.
yeah,
I'm not either one side. I I I lean towards what would be the best choice out of the options that are available.
yeah,
That's the best we
yeah.
can do because we don't necessarily have control, but the other reality is they're not 2 different animals.
Mm,
They're the same fucking animal.
yeah.
Sorry if I'm not
No,
I
swear
do
away.
cuss
That's
people.
that's this is where we got you, right? It is. I feel that is
Mm,
frustrating to me, and I see
mm.
that with being in Canada. Like, we've had this big, our prime minister is just. I really don't want to
I've
get into
seen
it, but
some of
the
that.
conservative side, the other side, I'm starting to see people like, he still he doesn't talk about the war. He doesn't talk about any of the stuff that he's saying he's for Canada, but I don't know if the system is like, we're going to get him in and then he's just going to start spending money in a foreign country. Like, we need to take care of ourselves. I know the States
Right,
is pretty much everybody's feeling the same way. Like, can we not just
yeah,
take care of our own country? And
right,
this comes down to tying it sort of back into religion, is the same
mm,
sort of thing, where what you're doing to, you're born into a family that's a Christian family, whatever family, and you
right,
get taught, told, programmed.
mhm,
Now something comes along and just shatters your belief system, that's
Mhm.
frightening. And then you're mentioning the brain. Of course, the brain is going to try and protect you. Like and you can, it's like the Matrix. It's like these
Yeah,
agents just morph into
100%.
an agent. And I'm starting to see it happen more and more to people where you think, oh, I'm having a
Mm.
good conversation with somebody. This is pretty. And then all of a sudden there's one thing that you say, like,
Mhm.
oh my God, no. Like all Islam is terrorists. And it's like, holy,
I
like, come
know.
on, man. So
On
I
that is especially it's kind of a little bit of a hot subject in my own little micro world right now.
mm,
That is something that to me is so mind-boggling that that people are often incapable of separating out the understanding of a stereotype versus
yeah,
absolutes. There's no
yeah.
such thing as an absolute in this world. Nothing.
No,
There is
no,
not a damn thing in this world that is absolute. Nothing.
yeah,
And to believe that, like what you just said, the absolute of, well, all of this
yeah,
particular region, all of this particular religion, all of this particular ethnicity, all of whatever is absolute teetotal bullshit.
yeah,
The reality is there are radicals, there
yeah,
are mid-believers, and then there are, well, I was just born here. Like
yeah, yeah,
like,
right.
in in every it doesn't matter if you're talking about a race, religion,
Mm,
politics, like, there are all of those categories. So to
yeah,
sit here and go, "Okay, yes, stereotypes exist for a reason," and I do understand that, yes, there's a reason there's a stereotype because a large majority seem to participate in a certain way, right?
yeah,
But that's not everybody. It's
no,
an average, and people forget how averages work. You take
yeah,
all of the numbers, you add them together, you divide it by that how many numbers, and now you have an average. Guess
yeah.
what? That means there's some people over here that were at a 10, and there's some people that were at a 1, and there's some people that might have even been a 0.
It's just like the average age 200 years ago, right? Oh wow,
Exactly.
like we live longer now, right? Do we though? Like
Do
this is
we?
this is yeah. It's like, hmm. But I like I have a halal butcher right across the street, and I'm blessed. I love them. I love their. We have the best conversations. They are amazing people,
Yeah.
and I sit here and listen to some of my friends,
Mm.
and I'm like, I can't even tell them that I shop at this butcher store because they've
Oh, I
drawn this
know.
line, and it's like, okay, guys,
I know.
come on. And now
Mm.
something I wanted to tie in to nutrition, what we've come to know for ourselves, like whatever our own iteration of the way we eat is the way we do it.
Right.
If we were so wrong about this stuff and you feel so strongly that the powers that be have been, poisoning us and, giving us chemicals, and like they're prepared to do anything for money,
Mm.
switch that to politics, switch that to anything, and you trust them now on this issue?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I know. I have said
what?
for years, and I joke because it's not just the FDA, but I'm like, "You really think the FDA gives 2 shits about you? Like, you're a
Yeah.
number on a piece
Oh,
of
now
paper."
they do. What?
But
Yeah.
oh, yeah, now they do. Sorry, I forgot.
On this
They got called out on this particular thing. Now
Yeah,
they do. You're
yeah,
right.
trust me, bro. This time we're for you, okay? And it's just like, I don't know about your thoughts about this glyphosate thing. Like, I was
Mm,
listening to RFK on Joe Rogan, and I'm just
mm,
losing my mind because I'm trying to imagine RFK's position, but I'm just saying, like, so you mean to tell me you are reliant on China to poison your food system and keep it going? Because if you don't, you're gonna kill people. What? I don't
what?
understand
No,
this.
I don't
Like,
either.
shouldn't we be like all hell bent on regenerative agriculture and farming practices that they know how to do? How is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, what? I don't know if RFK's, because I can't even imagine his position, even if he was an
Mm,
angel, like sent from
mhm,
heaven. The
right.
system that he's been put into, oh my lord, I can't even imagine. So I'm
That's
torn between.
Yeah, that's such a important, unawareness to be able
Yeah.
to realize it kills me when so many people are like, "I can't believe he's doing this, blah, 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 blah,"
Yeah.
whoever he is, the it man, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, you guys also realize these people, like you said, are put into a system that is already so ingrained and in place that they themselves are the quote parasite in the system
Yeah. Yeah.
that's about to potentially dismantle what's already got everybody's hands shaken and pockets filled,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they themselves have to be willing to give and take even on their own moral ground for certain aspects to be able to get other things that they really feel stronger about.
Yeah.
So it's like that's something people I don't know how people can't see that, where it's
Mm.
like, "Guys, no matter who's in office in whatever country it is, doesn't matter. They are going to do whatever they can for their belief system, but in the reality is they also have to shake hands and be able to live,
Yeah.
to survive,
Yeah.
and not get knocked off."
And I mean, if you look like just people like Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna that are trying to like put two opposing forces, by the way, like, you know, one's
Mhm.
California, one is, I think, Thomas Massey, is he Kentucky, I think, maybe. Anyway,
Somewhere over here, yeah.
they're screaming at everybody about these bloody files, which we'll probably get into
Yeah.
because how can you not? But
Yeah.
they're they're getting ostracized by the rest of them, and it's like,
Yeah.
can we not see this? Like, hello,
Uh,
people. Like, these are the
no.
two people we should be relying on, especially
Yeah.
for this issue. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's
wild.
crazy. It's
And I
absolutely
mean,
crazy.
since we're going there, we might as well just get into it.
Since we're going there.
How because it's funny, but it all ties into it. It's all, like this
Mhm.
awakening thing where you're starting to, realize that the world is nothing what we were told, nothing what we were
Mm.
sold. And I mean, I've gone, whether you want to call it a dark night of the soul, I had my holy shit, like, I'm so isolated, and I'm like, what am I going to do?
Mm.
Because I can't relate to anybody. That's kind of how I felt. And
Yeah.
then, it seems that there's a little bit of a jump to people sort of getting along, and then something comes along and does the same thing. But these
Mhm.
Epstein files, like, you're a
Yeah.
mother. How
Mm.
what's I'm just gonna what's your take on it? Because I'm pissed. Like, it infuriates me, and I have to hold it back because I don't understand why people aren't, like, this is gonna affect somebody somewhere. and
Why
and does that,
people aren't just completely dismantling the entire
yeah.
system? Yeah, so, I unfortunate, have, been very well, informed for most of my life.
Mm,
I have lots of family that is in different aspects of government, different areas, and the Epstein file concept is not a surprise to me at all.
mm,
It's something that I was heavily warned about probably about 15 years ago.
okay.
And I think the real problem is that the mass majority of people have been so convinced that there's no way this is real. There's no way
Mm,
people are this awful. And then at the same time, have been so extremely desensitized by
yeah.
all of the things that we've been exposed to. If you look at just what's been allowed in the last 20 years as games, shows, like different experiences that have been put out there, um, what people are exposed to, they have become so desensitized and mentally numb that it
Mm,
doesn't even trigger their system to be upset.
yeah.
It's like, and you think that's not on purpose?
Yeah, no
Like,
doubt.
you think that's not not on purpose?
Yeah. And it seems like every time there's a little bit of like a little bit of pull in the right way, there's something
Mm,
that just completely like I mean, I'm gonna talk the war.
yeah,
I don't know, I'm not talking geopolitics, but it's how convenient
right.
that
Yeah,
this
how convenient.
major world thing just happens when it's like, and so I don't
Right.
understand
Oh, yeah,
how.
it's just convenient that we now know that there's been cures for cancer. Oh, it's just
Yeah,
convenient that, "Oh, by the way, there's a war over here." And it's
yeah,
just convenient, "Oh, missiles are flying over here." It's just convenient.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
just convenient.
that even ties into the some of the stuff, like even with cancer. I know with your history, what you've
Mhm.
done. I mean, I don't know why that's not on billboards. Like, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is
Yeah,
let alone just an option, that's where it blows
right.
my mind. Like there's
It's
people doing good things and
amazing things, and they're not on billboards.
no.
There, several people that I've been in association with throughout my childhood, have done really amazing things, and they're gone.
Hmm.
And it's only recently, within the last 8 years, that it's become harder to have these people go missing.
Hmm.
And it's not a, like, weird conspiracy awareness. It's like, even if you just go back to 2020, that alone, and you look at all of these doctors who were advocating against what was being recommended,
Yeah.
most of them are gone.
Hmm.
Where are they?
Hmm.
What happened to them?
Yeah. I think
Look
Zev.
that up yourself, people.
Yeah, Zev, what was his name? Zev. Anyway, Dr. Zev, he came up with the first protocol. Just mad,
Mhm,
randomly disappears, and like, what?
mhm.
How is
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And
A dear, dear friend of ours has been missing ever since,
wow,
and
yeah,
she was one of the head doctors for, um, the advocation of pulling doctors together to
mm,
basically start advocating for, ivermectin and hydrochloroquine
yeah,
being used as a protocol,
yeah,
and, within 2 months, we haven't
wow,
heard from her since, can't find her. So it's
that's
like, it's not just it's
yeah.
wild
Well, I
stuff.
mean, that
But yeah,
was
but they're looking out for you.
yeah, yeah, right. There, there, that whole time was, I know a lot of people supposedly woke up to this.
Mm,
That's what I have to say as well, is like, if you look at that whole situation, however you feel,
mhm.
that there was whether, even if
Yeah,
you think that this was a good thing,
I
that was
know.
crazy. If
Mhm.
you realize that was crazy and the government did this to you, where's the line? Because if that's
Yeah,
like, if we could have been, we're
yeah.
teenagers and someone said to us they're going to close the schools, shut down so that you can't visit your grandparents or your sick family in the hospital because of
Mhm.
some disease, you would have said that's batshit crazy nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here I was in 2021 was when I got pregnant with my youngest, and and I'm sitting here going, he was born in 2022, right? And even in the early stage of 2022, I was allowed my husband, who had to prove we had to send in documentation that we were legally married.
Wow.
It couldn't just be like, "Oh, he's the father of the baby."
You're
I'm like,
lying.
"I literally
You're
have to
lying.
send you my fucking my marriage certificate?"
You're
Like, this
lying.
is a joke. Like,
We
this
have
is an absolute joke.
guys, we have a problem. I don't think it's I don't think it's her husband. I think it's like, what? That's where we're
It's
at.
like
Oh man.
I'm like, "Do you know how, like, insane that is?"
Yeah.
That I mean, to have to prove that, and then, of course, we had to put on file I was allowed 2 visitors to
Yeah.
be able to come to the hospital, and we had to have them on file before I went into labor.
Okay.
It's like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
I'm
alright."
sorry,
This kid's
your documentation isn't approved yet. You're not stamped.
right?
That doesn't sound Nazi Germany at all, right?
No,
Not
not at all, not at all, that sounds normal, absolutely normal.
yeah.
It does bring me back to a thing that, you said earlier about how the, like, indoctrination with the children and everything, and people get really uncomfortable when I say this, but the reality is Hitler himself was an unbelievably brilliant person.
Don't you can't say that.
Crazy,
Man. You
but
can't.
brilliant. He
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was,
right. No, it's just yeah.
because he understood psychosis
Mm,
and charisma.
mm,
He was able to manipulate hundreds of thousands of
yeah,
people
yeah,
easily.
yeah.
But one of the things that he said that has stuck with me that I read was when he said, "Give me a child from birth to the age of 7, and they
7.
are mine for life."
Yeah,
And that stuck with me
yeah,
so clearly, the awareness of whatever I instill in my children during these years is what is going to formatively carry them throughout their adulthood.
yeah,
What am I teaching them? What am I allowing around them?
yeah.
And people wonder why I'm so weird about the fact that, my youngest child does not get babysat by anyone else at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, that's you're so overprotective." And I'm like, "Am I really though?
You
Am I
helicopter
really
mom.
though?" Yeah. I'm like, am I really though? It's not that we don't let people around him. I
No,
mean, it's just that, well, I'm sorry you're not going to be allowed to be alone with my child for hours on end.
that makes pretty
It
good
is what
like,
it
if
is.
you and if you look at okay, well, we'll look at back in the day where there was the village or the tribe raising the children collectively together.
Right.
They protected their children together. Nowadays,
Together.
what is that? Like, holy man. And
Yeah.
that's it.
Nowadays,
Go ahead.
you even have your own village against each other.
Yeah. 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 There's I can't remember who it was, but somebody said like, oh, and they were saying how back whenever it was, the Jesuits would take children for 7 years, and then
Mhm.
they would do their thing, and then they give them back to their families.
Yeah.
Interesting. How
Yeah.
and then Bruce Lipton even he's saying like that programming, those formative
Mhm.
years is critical, and
Yeah, they are, unbelievably,
yeah,
unbelievably. They, I think from a, like, neurological perspective, from the science side of it, if you think about what's happening to a child's brain during those first 7 years, the fastest and most neurological connections are growing, being built during that time than any other time that your brain is developing. The fastest, the most, because why? Your body needs to survive. It's that whole like, "Hey, we don't wanna die, so we need to learn everything as fast as we can." The brain literally is just like and then it slows down to a point once it becomes somewhat self-reliant.
mm,
Once they're able to walk on their own, once they're able to kind of defend their
survive.
own logic.
Yeah,
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 like, then the brain kind of goes, "Oh, okay." It slows down its neural connection pathway, and they've been able to prove that this, like, legitimately happens in the brain at a certain point. The synapses that creates a permanent pathway has to happen more often than it does
mm.
before this time frame. So it's like, you can pretty much program, instill, teach, whatever it is during that time frame, and whether they agree with it or not, that's gonna be in the back of their head for the rest of their life.
And that sort of ties into this Epstein bullshit, and because people they can't see that they like this is something that I really really try to I try to live my life this way. I try to see it from another perspective. I always try and see, okay, I try. Believe me, sometimes it's hard. This is
It
very hard.
is. It is.
But what I find is that everybody is stuck in this I would never do that. But you need to look at it from a psychopathic, sociopathic
Mhm.
mentality that don't give a shit about you because that's kind of like the medical system. That's kind of like the our
Yeah.
food apply. The same kind of logic is profit over health. And in this context, we are looking at things like Selena. You could never do. I could never do that. That's not us. We're not talking about us.
It's no, I look at I when I see that concept and see these things, and there have been times when some of the imagery and stuff that's been actually released and has been shown and I see it. There have been times over the last couple months I've had a hard time looking at my own child because I'm having these, oh, like, in
Yeah.
my face awarenesses of what these people are doing, and
Mm,
you go, "No, I could never do that, but do you know what I could do to somebody who does?
yeah.
If I found them, if I caught them, oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
I could be just as malicious, just not to the children."
Yeah.
So it's like,
And
"No, okay, maybe you couldn't do that, but could you do that if you were protecting them? Could you handle that kind of rage if you came
yeah.
across that?"
Well, I think
I
there's
don't know.
there's something there about it's like the drowning victim, where
Mm,
the hardest thing to do is save a drowning victim because they're trying to
yeah.
pull you down too. And that makes, that's a survival
That's
mechanism.
exactly it.
They're not trying to kill you. But their
No.
rational brain has gone bye-bye. And that's where,
Mhm.
we all assume that we would do these certain things, but fight, flight, or freeze. But
Yeah.
a mother's protection mechanisms that I don't believe, we say they were tested, but in that situation, oh my
Mm,
lord, like, I'm sure there's some things that would come, like I would,
yeah.
there's, you want to get scared, piss off a mom, with her child, like,
Yeah,
right. This is, I was
I
scared to
know.
death of my mother, man. Like, yeah, that was just,
Yeah,
she's my
I
mom. I know
know.
she loves me, but oh my god, I'm running. Like, I
Yeah,
did something
yeah,
bad.
for
So
sure.
that's where, all this stuff is sort of like, we're talking about it like, oh my lord, this is like, I can't,
Mm,
that 7 years, then they throw in the trauma, the abuse
mhm.
before the age of 7, that
Yeah.
is. And then you wonder why there's mass shootings. And I don't know if you believe in,
Mm.
do you believe in the Manchurian candidates? Like, what are your thoughts on those those type of things, man? MK Ultra, mind control.
Oh, so
We're going there, Selena.
I'm going there. Uh, um, so yeah, I grew up in a very interesting world, Tony. Not a typical one.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so so one of my dear mentors growing up actually was one of, Jose Silva's first students.
Okay, cool.
So I'm very familiar with a lot of that world, and it's, yeah, how deep are we going?
We're going deep. I love it. Like, we want to talk about the theta state and, like, Jose Silva's techniques. Like, I think
Yeah.
this is the funny thing that you say that, because, my Fleur, my partner, my girl, she's a hypnotist. She understands trance
Yes.
states. She
Yeah.
understands, and she's blown away at people, because when she explains hypnosis, they look at her like, well, I would never be able to. She's like, you're in trance all the time. You just don't
All
know it.
the
You're
time.
driving your car. You think you're not. You think your subconscious is taking the wheel, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, this,
Mhm.
you think you're deciding to turn left when you got to go to this destination, that you go there
Yeah.
1,500 times. And that's the
Yep.
thing with the Jose Silva method, like getting
Mhm.
yourself into theta. You don't think that those skills can be manipulated for darker forces, so to
Mm.
speak. And
They can
so,
be manipulated for anything because frequency is frequency is frequency. It doesn't matter whether or not your intention is good, bad, ugly,
yeah.
indifferent. It doesn't matter. You
Mm,
match the frequency that you're intending to attract or project, and
mhm.
that is what it is. It's not the thing. It sounds so woo-woo, but it's not. It's
No,
I mean, it's literally
biology.
science.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. It's,
like, you
yeah,
guys, it's, they've already proven our cells all function at certain frequencies,
yeah.
and people go, "Oh, well, then there's just one frequency." No, there's hundreds of thousands upon millions of frequencies. What we've been able to tap into and become scientifically aware publicly is only the brink of, like, the surface.
Yeah.
One of the really, really interesting things is, if you're I don't know if you're familiar with, Dr. Rife, but
Oh,
how
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he categorized all of these different frequencies that function and work with different aspects of the human
Mhm.
body, the earth, the planet, the sun, like, everything, right?
Yeah.
I think he's got in totality from what was recorded and documented while he was still alive is something like over, like, 120,000.
Well, I know the book is like this, and it's
Mhm.
all about, like, every specific thing,
Yeah.
and it's,
Yeah.
like, finely tuned to
Mhm.
that, and,
Right.
I mean, that's you said something there that's like, this is like, we look at it as woo, like energy, frequency, vibration, but it is. Like, that is the
Yes.
thing. It's
Yeah.
not up for debate. Like,
Mhm.
this is the
When
way,
you
and
when you
when
take a microscope and you zoom in and you get all the way down to an electron, guess what you see when you have the strongest microscope on an electron? You just see an aural wave. You
yeah,
don't there's nothing there as
yeah,
far as matter goes. There's nothing. We are literally not anything, and yet
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, sound keeps us together, but no, it's frequency. Yeah, and it's
Mhm.
unreal how when people start to realize this, like, people go, I chant, I say mantras and I say prayers, and
Mhm.
I ask people that they're like, oh, they'll say, oh, that's cool, why? And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, well, are you talking right now? What do you think that is? What is
Mhm.
your body responding to? How are we communicating? This is sound. Yeah. How do you Okay, if we're talking and we're using language to uh, down,
Right.
how do you think your cells communicate? What do you think's going on with your heart? Do you think it's just a pump? And it's like,
Mhm.
these are they like, why do you say om? Well, maybe you should look
Mhm.
into it, what that is. It's not necessarily the ohm, it's my ohm, and it's,
Mhm.
my wouldn't it make sense that your body would love your own sound, your own frequency, you
Yes.
know? It
I
it
love that the whole thing with the ohm too, because people get, so weirded out about that. They're like, "Oh, that's whatever, right?" And I'm like, even in the Bible,
mm,
hey, Christians, even
yeah.
in the Bible, it says it was spoken into existence.
Yes. Yes.
Sound
Yeah,
sound came before light because it had to be spoken
yeah,
into existence.
and God said,
Yeah, like, this isn't crazy information, it's just, are you listening? Are you
yeah,
hearing? Are you
yeah,
seeing?
yeah.
And that's mm,
And that's
mm,
something that what, like, when people talk about, like, energy can't be created or destroyed, fine, sure, but it's it certainly can be manipulated. And whether the forces are for good or bad, the energy itself is not good or bad. It
mhm,
just is.
exactly,
So
just
even
is.
like these frequencies, people go like, well, there's no way that they're manipulating weather. And it's like, okay, well, what would make weather do things, like,
How many more patents do they need to publicize before you really
yeah.
believe what the hell they're doing? Like,
And
public
you
record
see these,
people.
I don't know if you have any of those big white domes on where you live, but I have
Mhm.
one.
Oh, I don't know if we lost you, babe. We may have lost Tony. I think we have. It's just me right now. So, if anybody is watching, it is a discussion on the understanding of,
uh,
um
isn't it funny how we just started talking about that and then we just got
yeah.
dropped? That's interesting. Hey? Wow. I don't think I've like completely dropped out in like months. Selena, we're going somewhere where I love it, and it's good because the recording's still going. So so apologies to everybody, but that was wild, interesting. Hey, so
Yeah.
we're not gonna talk weather manipulation. Clearly, like
Apparently not. Apparently
that's
not.
not that's not acceptable.
The clouds are beautiful today. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's right, man. Sucking back some graphene oxide. It's all good. Jeez. And what's funny is I watch podcasts or I watch some live things, and it seems like it's almost uncanny that when people start going off on these little they get I've seen Redacted. I don't know if you watch Redacted, but I love Redacted. Clayton and Natalie, they're they feel like they're good, and they seem to go into weird places, and then their internet goes down. It's just like interesting. You do a live show every day. This never happens until you start talking
Until.
about yeah,
Until.
jabs.
Yeah.
So thanks for hold. Did it drop on your side?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, well,
It just
must
didn't
be
like what you were saying.
yeah, right. Well, let's get more into sound, because I know in your car
Thanks.
conversations you talk a lot about this. You talk about awareness, intuition,
Mm.
frequency.
Right.
So how
So,
does go ahead?
no, you go ahead. You go
No,
ahead.
I just wanted to know, like, how does a Christian born, influenced by the Christianity, by that religion, get
Yeah.
into this sort of this, I don't want to say a cult, because it's not really, well, it actually is, technically it's unseen.
But there's
um
um there's every religion is a cult if you base it off of the definition of what a cult is.
yeah, the
Just
unseen. Yeah.
just saying.
Or
Put it out there.
a cult, not a cult.
Right,
The
a cult.
cult.
Got it. Oh, cult.
Yeah.
The big C.
Yeah, yeah. The stuff that can't be named, right? The esoteric
Yeah.
stuff. But anyway, so how did you
Yeah.
start figuring that stuff out? Like, how did you get in?
So that really started with my mom. She some would call her a visionary, some would call her a seer.
Hmm.
There's all kinds of words you could put on that. Um, and she she worked very closely with a lot of large organizations to help um, find information.
Okay.
So um, I fortunately was able to be raised, like I said, outside of the box parameters. For
Hmm.
her, it was always explained to her as a child that she was given the gift of discernment. She was given the gift of hearing God. She was given
Hmm.
the gift, right? That's how my grandfather would kind of like explain it away without it becoming something so unbearable for him to experience, because he couldn't deny it, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And, so she stayed in that kind of state of belief system for a long time until I was probably about 3,
Okay.
and, I think that's when it kinda broke open for her. So, when she started, she started training with a couple of people, so she trained with, Jose Sylvan, and ended up training with a couple of other people, and mind you, this was late 70s, early 80s at the time, so already kind of put us in an ostracized
No doubt.
environment growing up, um, but the awareness and training that anything was possible and that everything could be spoken into potential.
Hmm.
So, um, dear family friend, his name was Dexter. He used to say that you could make anything happen. You could decide anything within your own body in a matter of days. And he actually was a Catholic Antioch priest.
Okay.
And which is really interesting. But
Mm.
he would take, the rosary, and he would say, for every bead, 21 times, for each bead, 21 times a day, repeat whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
So if you were sick, he would tell his, people in his congregation, say every day I am healthy, healthy, healthy. Every day I am stronger, stronger, stronger. Whatever it was, right? And he said, the reality is you could also train yourself to think the opposite, and you'd have to be careful because you could no longer be here.
Speak something into
Mhm.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah. And it came down to a point where he was being sued in the late 80s, early 90s for false information or
Of course.
whatever. And
Mm.
the judge ended up acquitting him of all charges because he convinced the judge in the trial, okay, well, if you don't believe this is true, well, then take these beads. Every day, I want you to say, I am sicker, sicker, sicker. The man ended up in the hospital and almost died 2 weeks later.
Oh
He
wow.
called him back and he said, how do you stop this? He said, you do the opposite of what you've been doing. Simple as that. But you
Yeah.
have to believe it.
Yeah. Do you do
But you have
you
to believe
do you do you know Neville Goddard?
it. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
That's I think just one simple phrase, become the wish fulfilled. It's pretty simple.
Yes.
People
It's
go, "Oh no,
pretty
it's
simple.
bullshit." What does it cost you? What does it cost you?
What does it cost you?
You
The
know?
whole um concept of fake it till you make it. I know a lot of people really hate that phrase or whatever, but it's really true. You have to
Mm,
completely embody and become the emotional experience of that you wish and desire. If
mhm,
you if you sit there, and so talking from my own cancer story, right? I didn't talk to anybody about my cancer story. You know when I told my mother? I told my mother the day I was getting my hemithyroidectomy.
wow.
That's when I told her, 2 years
Mhm,
later. I didn't tell anyone except for my husband knew,
mhm,
my doctor knew, and my son knew that I wasn't doing well,
mhm,
but he didn't know more than that. And the reason being is there is a truth, an understanding of frequency where, that whole where two or more are gathered concept,
mhm.
same thing. I did not want people walking around repetitively thinking in their head, oh, she's dying of cancer. Oh,
Yeah,
she's dying of cancer. Oh, she's sick. Oh, she's sick. I didn't want that. I refused to allow that to be a record in anyone's story
yeah,
because I refused to believe it for myself. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they will tell me all the time, "Oh, Selena, you're so," my mom will say, "You always keep everything to yourself." And I'm like, "Well, because the things that might not be the most optimal in my life are not what I want everybody repeating in their own mind about what I am or about who I am or about what's happening or about anything, because
mm,
my intentional purpose is to overcome and to raise my vibration outside of the negativity that I have allowed, or whatever negative belief system I have allowed to infiltrate into my existence. If I'm allowing everybody else to play that record on their radio about me, that's that
mm,
much more of that frequency I have to try to overcome versus just myself.
yeah.
So
Well, that
go ahead.
that makes sense to me. Like, that makes perfect sense, and it's like, that's the God said thing. That is exactly
Mhm.
that. That is,
Yeah.
people like they I don't know. I don't want to say argue with me, but they're like, oh, come on, it's not that big of a. Hold on a second here. What is a
Mm.
thought? They're like, well, thoughts are yours.
Exactly.
What is a Wi-Fi? What is the signal of an internet flying around in space that doesn't exist until you put it on your computer? What do you think a thought is?
Mm.
Like, there's something. Like, whether you want to call them frequencies or something. You're emitting thoughts, like they are coming out. So
Yeah. I mean, and they've done scientific studies about the just somebody feeling, but then they've also done it with speaking. I mean, it's very simple. You take a glass of water,
yeah,
you put one glass of water in one room, one glass of water in the other room. I mean, I think everybody's heard this one, right?
yeah,
And in that one glass of water, they told it
yell,
all kinds
yeah,
of horrible things, nasty things, yelled at it, whatever. And on the
yeah,
other one, they did the opposite. And then when they looked at it through the microscope, the crystallization were completely different. The one that had all the negative energy, the negative talk, the negative words, spoken
so
words,
yeah.
they were shards and sharp and like fragmented. Whereas the other ones that got told how beautiful and loving things and happy things, they were like these beautiful, like almost snowflake crystalline castles.
Well, it's funny you say that because, like, if anybody doesn't know who Masaru Emoto is, like, that's his exact experiments were the same thing,
Mhm.
just looking at different isolated water molecules, and
Yeah.
then cymatics,
Mhm.
like it's clear that sound affects stuff into
Right?
patterns. Like it's and I have a like I have a little. I think I just thought of this right now. But snowflakes, everybody says there's no snowflake identical to another one. Everyone is unique and
Mm.
original.
Right.
Maybe that's the collective thoughts of the human
Mm.
getting shared through water.
Oh, right?
So, why would not rain be affected by us too? Like, if water is, you could
Yeah.
argue if water's alive. I don't, do you know who Veda Austin is?
Mm. Not
Oh
off the top
man.
of my head.
What she does is she puts
Wait, wait, wait. I
water,
think I do.
and takes pictures of it and then freezes it like halfway. And then,
Yes.
well, and then the water tells her what's going on. Like it's
Right.
unreal. What?
Or how does she also do the stuff where she will like she will set it on top of images?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Yes, and
Yes.
it will mimic. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, obviously. I mean, everything. This is my argument about people who have a morality issue with the fact that I choose to eat mostly meat, right?
Mm,
And the whole concept of life and the importance of that,
yeah.
right? And this everything is alive. There is
Yes.
not
Yes.
anything on this planet that is not alive.
Mm,
At what frequency does it operate? At what existence does it exude that ability? Are
mm,
different things, agreed. But this particular thing, like plants, for instance, I have known since I was a very small child that plants have feelings, if you wanna put it
totally.
that way,
Yeah.
that they
I would argue they have
experience pain, they experience fear, they
yeah.
experience happiness. Um, there was a whole study done about, a plant that, was able to detect,
Oh, yeah.
negative
Yeah.
experiences based off of the frequency. In fact, they've even gotten to a point where people have solved murder cases because the only existing
Yeah.
evidence, witness, was a plant that was in the room, and
I love
when the murderer entered into the room, the plant's frequency when they were putting its stress, frequency and measuring how it was
yeah.
going, would go off the charts. Why? Because it was scared.
Mm,
It's like that's not so the concept that someone is eating only plants because that is the higher moral ground because, animals are sentient beings. Well, so are these plants that have been here longer than we have.
yeah.
So are these plants that have been existing and creating this entire microbial world that
Yeah.
goes so much further. And as a soil microscopist, I mean, people don't even
Well,
understand the depth of
that
this world.
that is the underlying equal. Like I've been doing a lot of thoughts into like what we are, how things are working. Like it just I don't know.
Mm.
You go deep and you
Yeah.
start going, oh my lord, what's going on? But that
You zoom
seems
in and zoom out all at the same time.
that seems to me is the most common thing of anybody on this planet should be completely aware and united about is protecting our soil. That should be it. Like,
God,
we
yeah.
don't understand the, like, when you deal with the NPK fertilizers, and this is all the Rockefellers, people. Like, you want to talk conspiracies? It is. So they have the fertilizer, they have the medications, they have the stuff. They're destroying our soil. Monocrop agriculture is destroying our soil, hands down.
Mm,
It's getting
yeah.
completely depleted. If you're like, I'm not even talking about the microbiome in the soil, the nutrient. Like, this is,
Right.
you know, it's mind blowing how we can't just get along with that. Like, whether you're eating only meat or you're eating only
Mm,
plants, we need the soil, and the soil, the
yep.
animals and the plants need the soil.
Not even a
And
question.
yeah, yeah, it's so I've been looking at it. Like, I talk to trees, and I touch trees as many as I can, and I'm fascinated by them. And I think there's so many sort of, like, there's so much wisdom in a tree, where they're fractal, their leaves and their branches are all part of the same one, but they're different. It's kind of like that. But I look at what a tree is doing, and I thought about it. I was like, the tree is alive. The tree is probably sentient,
Mm,
vibrating at a slower frequency than us. So they're
mm.
probably talking in their tree time. Like,
Oh, they do. They
yeah,
do. So in the entire so the mycorrhizal fungi is a connective network, right? And it
Avatar.
actually injects itself into all of the root system throughout the soil and spreads out. The trees, the plants, anything that has a root system
Mm,
in the soil
yeah.
sends a signal. That signal gets amplified and dispersed to whoever can help.
Mm,
Not to everywhere. Do you hear that? Not everywhere. To whoever can help. So if this tree is like, I'm not getting enough water, we are starving over here, we don't have enough water, that signal might go 3 miles in another direction to signal, hey, we need
mm,
to pull water this way.
wow.
It might not go that way because guess what? We already know that there's no water over there, so we need to go this way. Do you think that's unintelligent? Do you
Yeah.
think that that is a being, an existence, a community that is not intelligent, that is not
Mm,
sentient?
yeah. Have you heard of the law of one?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's that that makes so much sense when you're looking at, like, the different densities, and, like, then it there's an argument for, yes, the planet's alive, yes, the minerals and the crystals are alive, yes, the plants are
Mhm.
alive, yes, this
Right.
is all the levels of, density. It's not dimensions, but density. And us being aware, conscious in that, I think it's the third density. The fourth density would obviously be the next evolution of us, would be probably on the spiritual, the next, anyway. I think that stuff, that's fascinating, that book was channeled in the 80s, and they're talking
Mhm.
about all this stuff, and we've got to sit here
Yeah.
arguing about, well, this is I think we're all
Right.
we're all the same stuff. The matter is the
Mhm.
same elements. We're the same
I know.
molecules. I mean, I just did a video on like the hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon factor. It's just a
Yeah.
giant exchange. We're
It
sharing everything
is.
between all of us.
Everything. Everything. Even in that concept, that same sort of like theory, they have proven, say for couples, for example, a
Mm,
couple that has been together, lived together in the same household for over 20 years, start to generate physical similarities.
yeah,
Physical similarity, sorry,
that's okay.
comma threw me off. Um, so T. Pruitt, my response to write was not to you, my dear. It was to Philip. So I'm sorry if you misunderstood that comment. All right, back over here. Um, um, they will start to physically actually take on each other's appearance. And
Mm,
not just like, "Oh, they're traits." No, their actual genetic DNA starts to combine because they are inhaling, exhaling each other's DNA coding, their
wow.
cells, their cellular DNA. And so if you ever look at couples, especially ones that have been together like 40 years, and you go, "Oh, they look like they could be siblings."
Yeah,
It's because they are sharing so much of the same
yeah,
that they are technically
yeah.
embodying each other.
Mm,
The idea. that anything here on this planet is not altogether and of the same,
Yes.
one, is astronomical if you can't see that. There
Yeah.
is nothing here, I say over and over, there is nothing here that lives forever, and there's nothing here that doesn't die. Everything is an exchange.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It
And we are
doesn't matter
supposed
what life form.
to be given back to the earth. Like we are supposed that's
Mhm.
supposed to happen. I mean, there's a reason why fertilizer is so important. It's because it's giving it back. And I laugh at I don't want to say I laugh. I get frustrated when you can't see like I think the moral ground would be not to waste and to respect everything, and people
Yes.
get like all they I don't know. It seems to be one of those conversations that just never seems to get past. If you look at climate change, for instance, like does anybody? I don't know how you feel about this, but when they talk about CO2, do they understand that plants breathe this? Like net zero.
Right?
Do you understand what net zero means? Like, are you kidding me? This is mind blowing, man. Someone's
It
like,
is.
I'm not talking about recycling, which I don't know. You make the plastic, and now it's my problem for using it. So if I don't recycle, I'm an asshole. But yet, that whole bullshit. Anyway, but
Damn it, Tony.
the
I can't believe
CO2,
you.
like what? How can and of all the greenhouse gases, like I can understand sort of the arguments for methane, even though I think it's ridiculous. But the
Mm.
CO2 is the one that we're talking about, the carbon footprint, the net zero. Everything's got a carbon footprint, man. If we don't
Everything.
exchange this carbon, we're done. Like, is that not
Exactly.
is that not
Let
a
me
is that not a
I'm just like,
is that not
yes.
something that is anti-human, anti-world? Like this is so
Yeah.
insane.
It is absolutely insane. Absolutely. And the fact that they have convinced millions of
Yeah,
people that,
yeah,
you know, natural agricultural farming is what's destroying our planet
yeah, yeah,
is like such a fucking joke. I'm like,
yeah,
do you guys even realize how little of the planet is still farming?
yeah,
Does anybody can anybody put this in perspective?
yeah,
How little the planet is still even having animals do their natural cycle of
yeah.
life.
And someone mentioned it the other day. They're like, well, do you notice? Like, I don't know if you notice this. I haven't, but I'm gonna pay attention to it now. Is like people would drive around at night, just maybe not in the city, but just out sort of in the suburbs or in the rural areas. I can't say that. And they'd
It's
get
a hard word.
mosquitoes on their lights. Like they get bugs, bugs, bugs,
Yeah.
bugs, bugs. Apparently, they're like, there's
Where are
not.
they?
Where are they? Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
so where I live, mosquitoes are a huge problem.
Mm.
And they have always been a huge problem. But even even with that still being a significant problem, which I think that might be purposeful, but that's just my opinion. Um, compared to how often I used to have to, like, clean my windshield off and clean
Yeah,
my
yeah,
car off, right?
yeah,
Compared to now, I'm like, I I used to go to the front of my car, and I'm sorry, butterflies and dragonflies and everything else
yeah,
that I took out in the in
yeah,
the wreckage, but it would be like having to scrub them off when I took them to the car wash.
yeah,
I haven't done that in years.
yeah.
Years.
Interesting, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
that's something that was like, I don't know. Last year I was at like I do work I help at a friend's farm in the time I go out, for the odd day and just do stuff because it's nice to be outside and out in the fresh air. But I
yeah.
noticed that we were walking around her pond and she was getting bit like crazy and I wasn't at all. Like they were leaving me alone. I'm like, maybe it's that blood that I'm sporting. I don't know, but there wasn't too many mosquitoes and it should have been like it should have been. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I got to pay attention to that because I think that's something. But the CO2 thing, come on, people. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And people are like, "Oh, we need to get rid of all of, these crops that are, what is it called? Um, that are harming the environment because of the carbon, release that happens when they cut off all the plants and the plants die. And I'm like, "You guys realize that carbon sequestration is a natural part of the entire cycle. Like, it has to happen. That
Yeah.
that part has to go through the process." So now somebody came up with this crazy idea of, like, whenever they go to cut all the, like, large agricultural farms, that they're trying to immediately bag it up so that the carbon release cannot happen
Yeah.
in the air, and I'm like, "And what's gonna happen when you open the bags?"
Yeah.
Like, how stupid are we?
Yeah. And
It's just like
the other thing, it's like, because tying this back into weight loss, people don't realize that you breathe out your weight. Like, this is a carbon dioxide. Like, this is giving
yeah,
back carbon. And it's like you're breathing the oxygen, converting it into stuff that the plants need.
yeah.
This is how and carbohydrates, hydrocarbons,
Mm,
fat store on
yeah.
us and we give it back. So all you people that are trying to lose weight that think you're give
Breathe better.
yeah, just breathe better. Give back to the planet, man. But isn't it funny how when they're saying CO2 net zero, you could
Mm,
argue that is anti-human because
it is.
they don't want us to exhale. That's what it's
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And it's
I
I don't
know.
know. Have you heard Greg Braden talk about this?
I don't think I
He
have.
said like when you look at the CO2 levels compared to now and like going back in history, we are dangerously low, dangerously close to the worst ever, like in arguably documented planetary history. And
Yeah,
it's like it goes past a certain point. Like we don't have to get to net zero. We get past a certain point. We're
we won't be able to survive.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I just don't. And British Petroleum came up with the term carbon footprint. That should tell you. So this company tells you, Selena, that you need to be more responsible, regardless of what it is, because we're going to destroy the planet. Selena, it's up to you to be a better human.
yeah.
What?
Damn it,
How does that
Selena.
make sense? And I wonder who owns British Petroleum. Hmm.
Oh, that one is always what makes me laugh when people are like, "Well, how do you know that that they're not trying to do the best they can?" Who owns them? Okay,
Yeah.
who owns them?
Yeah.
And now look at who owns those people.
Yeah.
And you tell me what the actual outlier of need and desire and help this really is. And I don't care what you look at it as, whether you look at it agriculture, whether you look at it food, whether you look at it pharmacy, whether you look at it politics, doesn't freaking
Property. Yeah.
matter.
Everything.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
who owns it. And
Yeah.
sadly, it's like a lot of people think it's absolute BS when you're like, "Oh, there's only so many people that really run the world." And it's like, it's not BS.
No.
There's only so many people who own the head parts of each category in the world.
Yeah. And they all funnel up. And I don't know if are you a
Mhm.
fan of David Icke? Do you know who
Mm,
David Icke is?
I don't know
Well,
I'm a visual person, so I usually see faces and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that person."
he's been talking this conspiracy for decades, since 92, 93. He was batshit crazy in England, got ridiculed out then because he was talking about our connection to God. He was a broadcaster, a sports broadcaster. Anyway, he's got this theory about how the world works, arguably the pyramid of power, and he's talking about it's kind of next level. Some people might not be able to process this, but it's like the archontic forces, and there's something in a higher dimension sending out its,
Mm,
and the
mhm,
pyramid literally spider web. But he's saying that he's like, you don't understand how easy it is to control from up here
mm,
when you're compartmentalizing everything, and then when you break it down, it's like
yeah,
all these up the chain. It's not
mhm,
that difficult to process. And it's opened up my eyes because I just start questioning things. I'm like, holy cow, this too. Yes, this too.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it seems like I got here through nutrition. Like that's how I was like, what do you mean John Harvey Kellogg's isn't a good guy? What?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Right? Like this
yeah.
is I love life cereal. Like, what the hell? This is my whole. It was my whole
That's
life
the
growing up.
that's
It was
the
a good
addiction
one.
part for sure. Like, that is such an addiction thing because you know what's funny when you mention cereal, my brain goes, "Mm," and it's like, I know that that is absolute garbage for me. I
Yeah,
know all of the awful stuff that's in it and what detriment it'll do to me, but my brain still goes, "Mm."
yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
the hell? Tell me if that is not an addictive substance? Holy crap. And
I
that
know. I remember.
definitely was not by accident.
I think Mark did a video on it, and I had to go do some research for myself because I do this sometimes. I just go into the grocery stores and start reading ingredients just to try and see what the most astronomical one is. But it was the cereals, and I'm like the shreddies, okay, like all good whole wheat shreddies. Everybody knows, hey, they're diamond shaped now. Diamond shreddies, great marketing.
Right.
So, but it's the BHT, butylated
Yeah.
hydroxytoluene. How delicious does that sound? And it's in
Oh,
there to
yummy.
ensure freshness. If they're ensuring freshness and they're putting this chemical in their food, like, are you kidding me? Do we have to argue? And people say, well, it's not that bad, or else they wouldn't let it in there. Oh my Lord. Now we look at the grass list and like, and then they can't, like, I can't believe these people aren't on our side. Like, wow.
I know. It the "I can't believe" statement or the not the "I can't believe" statement, but the people that truly still keep, like, holding on to this, like, thread of, "It just can't be."
Yeah.
I wanna go, um, can you just, like, wake up now? Like, can you just open your eyes?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, who's got the bag over your head? Where like, what room are you in?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I
it
heard
it
something. I heard something that was sort of like it makes sense because, like, we talked about it earlier about the agents, like in the Matrix, like morphing into the agents, and he actually said that 80% of the world aren't capable, and it
Mhm.
kind of ties into cloning, aren't
Yeah,
capable. They've been put like something in their genes that it's really blocking their awakening. There's 20% of the world that are like just waiting for it to happen. Like, there's a reason why there's so polar opposites. And he basically said, he's like, I've given up trying to wake people up. I'm doing
mhm,
my thing as best as I can, and the people that
yeah,
will, because if you can't see it, right, like, this is, it's out of control when you start talking about,
yeah,
the
and
World
it's
Economic Forum. It's like, just listening to the sustainable development goals, and then you just like, can't we see that this is like utter control, manipulation, and I
mhm,
believe, I don't understand. Maybe you can help me out with this one, because if they could do this, if
mm,
they could do this, why
whoever
didn't
they
they
are.
do this all? Yeah, and I mean, obviously, there's the loosh factor, there's the negative, low vibrational energy, but is it setting us up for destruction, or do they need to just keep us alive, like recycling, keep going through the
Mm,
wheel of samsara to keep us? What do you think?
mm. What do I think?
I told you we're going deep. We're going deep.
Yeah, personal opinion
Mm,
is that if there is not a decision amongst the masses to be able to realize ultimate true potential, purpose, and divine that they are,
mm,
if they are not willing, not able, or won't, then we are nothing more than farm cattle to that which needs to control.
mm,
If we cannot, and I do believe that we are on that tipping kind of break of this sort of now or never kind of experience when it comes to this particular existence, this particular dynamic of human civilization,
mm.
because we're not the first ones.
No,
We're not the first ones, but we're in this one right now, and we have a choice. Are we going to make the same mistakes?
yeah,
Are we going to teeter over and end up in a mass wipeout once again?
The
'Cause we're
great
not the first
reset.
ones.
When people can't understand how what are you resetting? Okay, the great reset. Like it's just
Yeah.
I know the
Mm,
first time I heard that, there was a feeling in my body that was like, "Oh my god, that's gross. That's
mhm.
not that's you're looking at this Bond villain tell you that they're going to reset the planet. Like, look at them."
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that's a stereotype, but it's
No,
pretty
no,
close stereotype. Like,
yeah.
where the hell did the Bond villains come from? Well, I'm sure they just hung out with Klaus Schwab for 15 minutes
Yeah.
in his teenage years and went, ah, this guy, give him a monocle. He's in. Like, are you kidding me? But I agree with you because I think there's this it's clear that there's a lot of people waking up. There is a lot of people
Mhm.
coming to this, but
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on stopping it? Like, is it just a collective no? Is that it? Is it that easy just to say no more, no more? We're all in the same gang. We're gonna be here. Go do your carbon footprint over there.
The collective awareness of love,
Mm,
the energy, the frequency, the heightened vibration that you have to be in to love has to
yeah.
overpower that which is trying to divide. And I don't mean that from just a political standpoint. The
No.
reality is hate,
Yeah.
anger, and those actions are a state of division, no matter how small or how big. And the
Yes.
reality is if we cannot come to a point where we all wake up and are willing, like we discussed earlier, to see beyond the stereotype and recognize that there are human beings who might be Jewish, who might be Muslim, who might be Christian, who might be Buddhist, who might be whatever,
Yeah.
that are all worth being loved, that do not follow this scarier path
Mm,
of the versions that can be of any of these things politically, religiously, or whatever. If we
yeah.
cannot come to a point in human existence to where love outweighs everything else, because guess what? Guess what's been running the planet? What's been running the planet? It's like that movie Monsters Incorporated,
Oh, I
you
know,
know?
right? Oh my
Yeah,
lord, there's so
right?
much symbolism in that. Yeah, no kidding.
Like,
Well, do you know what Lush is? Do you know what Lush is? Have you ever heard?
mhm,
Okay, this is kind of cool. Robert Monroe. Do you know who he is? The Gateway
mhm,
Project.
yeah,
Well, that's his sort of like when he was doing his out of body experiences and he's seeing all these sort of the astral forces. He's like it's a Lush factory. Lush is the negative energy that they feed on it. That's kind of
mhm,
the and he
yeah,
basically coined the Earth is a giant Lush factory. We don't know what's going on, but every time you're depressed, anxious, angry, anything below, that's what they want. And it kind of
mhm,
you can kind of see where the terror and the
yeah,
abuse and all that from and the wars.
mhm,
But I can't remember where I was going with this. But that's something that I think I agree with you. Like the love without judgment and forgiveness.
mhm.
Like we have to put our
Forgiveness.
past. We can't think about the present, think about now.
I know.
Whatever you
Yes.
did, your ancestors, like say the Ho'oponopono prayer and just
Right?
forgive. Because
Yes.
I think that's the hardest part is when
Mm.
someone's looking at somebody in the face and saying like, I don't like your kind. Like that's got to
Yeah.
stop
Because
because
what
we're all
kind is that?
yeah,
Exactly.
we're
Exactly.
all the same kind. We're all the same fractals,
Mhm.
same elements, and it's
It
quite
takes the same minutia of a miracle of frequency explosion to
yeah,
create you into existence. It doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter. We all take that same,
yeah,
and now you're here.
yeah,
Every human being takes the
yeah,
same.
yeah. And I mean, and that if you want to look at like, I mean, like strip spirituality right down would be the exploration and understanding of consciousness. That's
Mhm.
what I don't
Yeah.
think it has to be religion, and obviously we're going to
Right.
get influence and stuff, but ultimately it's like science would be
Yeah.
ultimately the understanding of nature. Why were you doing experiments? You want to understand something, what is it? the
Yes.
nature of things. Like,
Yeah.
and I think we're gone like way past the science bullshit. Like people are questioning the science, trust the science. The science doesn't stop. The science never stops. I
No, it
you
never
know,
stops.
like why would the science be settled? That's the whole reason of science.
And I
Like
think it's a big freaking joke that, like, "Oh, the science," and I'm telling you, in the 1940s, they had better scientific proof,
yeah,
explanation, and research happening than what they do now. Why? Because nobody knew to stop them.
yeah. There was all this, all the indoctrination and like,
Mhm.
but so here's and this is another thing tying into the they. If you understand that and you can understand sort of how they can infiltrate, manipulate, and overrun a system, and now all it takes is to convince you that we've got your back. If you speak out against us, we'll ruin you, we'll end you.
Mhm.
Put
Yeah.
your family, put a career on the line for that. So now I ask you, Selena Fox, shouldn't we be listening to the outliers that speak out against that? If that's the case, why are we ridiculing these people? Why are you jumping on the bandwagon of black? Shouldn't we just listen? You
Yeah.
know,
We should.
I think
We
that's
should.
that's something that really hits home with me. Is I
Mhm.
listen to outliers. I've given up trying to like. I want to know why is this person saying this? Not
The
is what they're saying right or wrong.
the, um, the irony in that is that in every religious story, right? There's the person, the being, the one who is the radical, who's going against everything. And
Mhm.
yet we crucify them
That's
in
right.
modern day.
Oh,
It's
and then
like,
we make an excuse for it and say it was for we crucified him for
yeah,
you. He died for you.
yeah.
It's
And
like,
yet, and
wow.
now anybody who comes out, anybody who speaks, it's like, do you guys not see? You guys are exactly like the Roman army. You guys are exactly like the blah, blah, blah. Like, you guys are
Agents
taking
in
these
the
people
Matrix.
out. Yeah. And you guys are doing the very thing that you're so angry happened to your person. Like,
Mm. Yeah,
what?
yeah,
Open your eyes. Open your
yeah,
eyes. Pay attention. Hear what's being said. Hear what's being read between the lines because guess what, everybody? They're going to feed you a whole shitload of gray.
yes,
And if you don't know how to read black and white and purple and
exactly.
orange and yellow and whatever, guess what?
Yeah.
You're going to miss it.
Oh, yeah, and or or it's like we want you black, but we're gonna give you a bunch of gray that is, you know,
Mhm.
with a
Yeah.
50 shades of black. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
how are
And
you? How are you for time?
I'm okay. I might need to check on my little one in a minute, but I'm okay.
No, that's
I'm
good.
watching him right now.
Okay. I just wanted you. I just, I respect your
But I'm
time, and I know we're going
yeah.
deep because I want to ask you about the moon.
Ooh, the
What do you think
moon.
about the moon?
Considering my name means the moon.
Yeah.
It's funny. Um, well, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. Sorry. Um, yeah, okay, so you wanna ask me about the moon. So
Yeah.
what do we wanna
What
know about the
What
moon?
the hell is the moon?
Hmm.
Because we can go so many roads here. You can go the
We could go
spiritual. You can go the science. You
yeah,
can go
I know.
the metaphorical. What? Just I'm leaving it open because
The
I want to know your
moon. Hmm. Oh,
And I love the way you think. Like this is so nice to see somebody take a beat and just, I'm gonna process this one. Like there's, you're definitely not failing this test, Selena. You're not getting kicked out of our school.
yes! Um, I from all that I have experienced and all that I have learned and information I've come across, I would say that the moon is a dead planet.
Mm. Okay.
That is my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, Based off of the things that are viable to be seen.
Mm.
Um, do I think that we have accomplished all that we have been told we have accomplished? No.
Mm.
Um, but I do think that the whole concept of trying to go back to the moon and see the moon and be on the moon and maybe we could create on the moon is like, guys, I think we already killed that one off. I think
Mm.
I think we already depleted that resource.
Yeah. The reason I ask you this is because I am so confused about it because,
Mhm.
obviously there's the tidal factor, there's the female cycle factor, there's the doesn't rotate factor. There's the it just happens to be the exact size to eclipse the sun, like the exact distance, the exact
Perfectly.
just happens to be there. Then you have the whole moon missions, and it's like I don't know what it is or isn't. I just know it's not what they're selling. It's not what they're
Yeah,
selling. There's
for
something
sure.
that they're not saying, I think. So I don't know. I don't know if we land. Probably I don't even know if if there's outer space for from the biblical sense. There's the firmament, and I'm not saying flat Earth.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not what they're telling us. And
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never been, so I can't say for sure.
Right,
So
right. I, um I do know, like, from some of the old, documentations of, like, the guy who, went up in the hot air balloon and almost got to the point where there was no oxygen, and his hot air balloon actually started to, burn
okay.
because he was getting too close. But we're talking this was, like, early 1800s?
Mm,
So, was this a story? Was
yeah.
this
Right.
what really
Okay.
happened? Because I mean, this was definitely before we were talking about going into space. So
Yeah.
he was describing atmospheric experiences that we know exist now that we didn't technically know then, supposedly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what and how much of that truth is truth and how much of it has just been manipulated to give us another story of how grand and great we are and look at how much control we can have.
Well, I would say what exactly? Because what would get the balloon up there would arguably be helium. And if
Yeah.
you're going up there with a balloon full of helium, as you get higher and the atmospheric pressure gets, more and more, that spark might be a problem. That fire that's going,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? That
Exactly. I mean, we
so,
we all watched the blimp go down in
oh,
those
that's something
pictures,
else.
right?
What are your thoughts on Tartaria? I know I'm jumping around everywhere here, but I love talking to you. So it's
Um, I'm not sure. I don't know that
no.
I've really sat and thought about it a whole lot, actually.
Okay, well, I'm gonna send you with some homework. You just got to go watch my lunch break, and then we'll
My
have
lunch
round
break.
two,
You got it.
and yeah, it's all these buildings that are like they don't make sense. So basically, all over
Mhm,
the world, even in the U.S., the state capitol buildings, all this construction, all this architecture,
mhm.
it's like these cathedrals. Show me the blueprints. Show me how many horses it took. Why was the population 3,000? But there's
Yeah.
a monumental building in whatever Wisconsin in
And
the
why can we not fucking replicate it now? Why?
exactly.
Why can we
Exactly.
not? I do not understand that
Yeah.
from a intellectual perspective. Somebody said to me a couple months ago, sorry, speaking on this process, like I've not seen that, but I've obviously had a lot of thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Um, they were like, "Oh, we have such um, oh, fuck, what did they say? Something about like, "Oh, we really have such great inventions now, and we've really, like, peaked with our intellectual knowledge." I said, "Really?" I said, "Because if you look at any of these buildings that are hundreds, some thousands of years old, why can't we duplicate it?
Yeah.
Why can we not?" duplicated. Okay, sure. I'll give you the fact that we are able to mine things really well and we can smelt things pretty decently.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Mm,
compared to some of the things that have been found, kind of.
yeah.
Um, why is it we cannot even replicate, like, even something as familiar as the Vatican?
Perfectly. Like these buildings are acoustically, you want to talk about
That
sound,
round
they're
dome building?
all all the domes in the cathedrals around the world, all the domes that are those domes, including the
Mhm.
Washington State Capitol building, are perfect.
Perfect. Yes.
Perfect resonating chambers. Like what the
Yes.
hell? So that's you're gonna love my lunch break because that's basically he asked the
I'm
question
excited
about
now.
about everything. I like when I first, it was actually somebody that was watching, chatting in the podcast, and they're like, "You got to check out my lunch break." Well, I did, and I binged it for like 2.5, 3 weeks, and I was like, "Oh my god, it changed my life," because like this whole thing, it just doesn't make sense, and it's like
Mm,
we talked about this at the beginning, where when are we? And this kind of reigns into that. It's like there is
yeah.
so many anomalies that don't make sense, and specifically being from the States and Canada,
Mhm.
we were
Yeah.
told 1776, Canada was
Mm,
1852. Don't quote me on that, Canadians. I know I'm bad.
whatever. Yeah, I know.
1857. Montreal, even in Vancouver, some of these buildings that weren't supposed to, when they said they were built, no blueprints, no documented
Yeah.
construction contracts, let
Mhm.
alone the people. How do you build
Yeah.
this with population zero? Like
Yeah.
everybody's a master builder contractor? Like how does it work?
Yes.
18 in
Everybody.
1801, some
Everyone.
settler that was going to North Dakota has this
Yeah.
Capitol building, and
And
okay,
it just happens to mimic the same precision, yeah,
yes,
as all around the world. Yes, perfectly.
yeah.
It
So
it kills me too because they're, like, finding all of these, sites here in the US, and I wanted to laugh when somebody was like, "Oh," talking about the Grand Canyon specifically, and I
mm,
was like, "Yeah?" And they were like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we could do blah, blah, blah?" I said, "Well, it's not allowed." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to go in the Grand Canyon. Like,
yeah,
there's certain sections that you can sort of visit by a
yeah,
specific tour, and they will literally turn you around
yeah.
and carry you back out." I said, "So you're not allowed to go?" They were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, kinda like you're not allowed to go to Antarctica. Everybody just agreed, and apparently nobody does it." Like, because why? It's it's literally
Nobody
monitored
knows.
by armed guards. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Because that's funny because I think they found Egyptian hieroglyphs in the Grand
mhm,
Canyon. They're like, oh, well, no, 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 nothing to
exactly.
see here. Let's just shut it down. So
Not just hieroglyphs, full carved statues that are like 2 stories high.
interesting,
Full
right?
carved statues that look exactly like they should be in one of the pyramids over in
Yeah,
Egypt, and you just kinda go,
yeah, yeah.
"When did that happen?"
Since we're going here, what do you do you think Mandela effects? Like, what are your thoughts on CERN? What they're doing? Do you think they're doing some nasty stuff over there and like
Mhm.
messing with our reality? Does Pikachu have a black stripe or not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't. He never has, and I'm arguing that.
Shush.
No, go look it up. I'm telling you, he doesn't have one, and it's like, no, he did.
He did. No, I know he did. I know he did. It's like George the monkey never had a tail. He's a
Yeah,
fucking monkey. What do you mean he doesn't have a tail? He had a
exactly.
tail when I was little.
And I had one. Like I swear to you, like I grew up with a lot of Indian people. Played soccer with them. Was part of
Yeah,
their family. Like we'd go over for dinner. We'd hang out. Like grew up with a lot of them.
yeah,
I never heard of Diwali till I was 47 years old. It's their festival of light, and it's like a
right.
huge thing around my city. Fireworks everywhere, crowds of people going. I'm like, I've lived here for now 50 years. This is not real. I did not know this. I would have been invited. I would have been like, no, I would have had knowledge of this, and it all of a sudden was there, and I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Am I that like thick that like
No.
I understand Ramadan, I understand Christmas, I understand a
Mhm.
lot of these trips,
Right?
but yet the one that was directly in
In
my neighborhood
influential
growing
into
up,
your
like,
yeah,
so
just
I don't
didn't
know.
exist.
I think I think it's my own personal Mandela effect because I'm confused, but it's yeah, I think
Possibly, but you know what's funny is I didn't hear of it. And I
yeah
grew up in Southern California. I was the only white girl in my entire school.
yeah. Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and amazing, I turned out the way I did. Um,
No, that's probably a very cool experience actually.
it was actually, it was. I'm like the most Hispanic, non-Hispanic person on the planet when it comes to certain things. It's really
Right
funny.
on. Well, yeah,
But
it's like that, I guess. Like you were in Southern California
yeah,
because I've been to LA and stuff, and there's a lot of Latinos,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Same thing in Vancouver and in like our
Right.
part. There's a lot of Indians. Like it's just I've grown up with them. Like it's just part of my. And I'm not talking about the borders now. I'm talking
No, I
about
know, I
growing up
know.
with this cultural family. Like I played soccer with a lot. Like it was part of my
Yeah,
life. So
yeah,
anyway, um,
but yeah, I don't
sorry,
know
I
where I
think
was
you're going
going.
on about you're in
It's
school,
okay.
so it's something you've
I was
never
in
heard of
school.
Diwali.
Oh, I had never heard of Diwali,
Yeah,
ever. And I mean, and where I grew up was very, like, culturally aware, like, there was somebody from every culture that I could possibly imagine. I
yeah,
knew someone.
yeah,
I never heard of it.
yeah.
So, I
No,
don't think you're the only one,
that's
but
weird.
and
And
but we're about the
and
same age, so
we're talking. They close cities down for this. Like when I was driving through, like one year, I'm like, what is going on? Like there's this national holiday for the Indians, and they're all in this. Like they're close. Like this is huge. I'm like, no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no. This did not happen when I was a kid. I don't know. They're like, yeah, it happens every year. I'm like, hell no, it did not. And I'm not that ignorant. I'm like, I
mm,
know this
right.
is not in my reality. It's pretty wild.
That, the whole thing with the Mandela effect concept, it makes me laugh because there are things what that I'm I know I
Yeah,
have this memory. Like, I know for
yeah.
sure. I did commercials when I was young, and, there was a commercial that I did for I guess it's called Jif.
Jif, yeah, yeah. No, it's
Mhm.
Jiffy, Jif.
Yeah, it was Jiffy. It was
Yeah,
Jiffy. I did a fucking commercial for
yeah.
Jiffy peanut butter.
Like I think the one that really really blows my mind, and it's pretty cool because I got my mom hooked on it when I was like, Mom, what is it? Mirror mirror on the wall, or is it magic mirror on the wall? And she's like, well, it's mirror mirror. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, I
I'm
saw
like,
that too.
what the hell? Like this
Or the
doesn't.
whole okay, going in this one, the whole Star Wars, he
I
never
know.
says, "Luke,
Yeah,
I am your father." Never. He never said that, yet I don't know a single person that doesn't fucking quote that.
yeah, no
Never
doubt.
said it.
And
Never
what's with
said it.
3PO having a silver bloody leg? That did not happen. Like that was bullshit. I had the toy. I was a big fan of the movie. That was never a thing. Now it's all of a sudden. Oh yeah, he's always had a silver. What? They just got lazy? No,
Yeah,
I don't think. I don't
right?
think that's like the continuity factor alone would be like, no, he's not getting a silver leg. I've done set deck on films. That would be like the props
Right.
would be like, no, 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 no. That just confuses things. Let's just give him. He's all gold.
Yeah. Yeah. I never remember that being a
Yeah,
thing. And my cousin was heavy into Star Wars when I was little. A whole bedroom set. I don't
yeah.
remember a silver leg anywhere.
So they're saying like the cause of these Mandela effects are the Hadron Collider in CERN, like the big particle
Right.
accelerator. They're smashing
Yeah.
stuff. What do you think? Good or not good?
I think there's one of 2 possibilities. I don't discredit that that could be a possibility. I
Mhm.
think it could be. The other possibility that I believe is highly, highly probable is that now that we're in this information age, I think the possibility that the beings that be
Hmm.
could potentially take advantage of the fact that if we create a mass confusion and a true embodiment of self-doubt in a mass society situation, if you cannot believe your own memories,
Mm.
you are able to be manipulated
Hmm.
to anything,
That is
ultimately.
a very, very good point because you just have to look at the people arguing about the 432, 440.
Mhm.
Why?
Why?
Why? Why
Yeah,
would they change? If anybody doesn't know this, they've,
yeah,
every A on an instrument on a musical scale is tuned to 440 now.
yep,
Back back before the those
yes,
Rockefellers got involved, it was 432, which is a natural
yes. It's a
solfeggio
natural frequency. Yes.
frequency that is all, this is a
In
design
perfect
specific.
harmony. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why would they change that? And people go, well, and it's kind of interesting. It coincides right when we started broadcasting on a
Mhm.
radio that they changed this and they changed it everywhere. Like the
Yes.
universal tuning
It's a
is for.
universal shift. Yeah.
So
And they've they've known, whoever they are, have known that 440 is an interrupting frequency. So it actually causes disruption. Like
mm,
it causes you to kind of like
mm,
halt. So if you're think of it like LED lights, if you're constantly being like jabbed all the time, you can never fully, not that you can't, but it makes it much more challenging to be able to fully calm and hear because your frequency is constantly being
yeah. And that
jabbed at.
also that ties into why the hell they took all the bells away. Like the bells
Oh
were
my
this. But you know what, Selena? I want to save something in the tank for round two because we're gonna. I love it, and I want to
god.
respect your. I want to respect your mom duties, and
Yeah.
but I've had such a good time having
Yeah,
this
me too.
because I've been waiting to talk to you about a bunch of stuff that wasn't just meat, fish, and
Yeah.
eggs. So
Yeah. What did you eat today?
yeah,
Oh, Pinky, I eat the same thing I eat every day.
that's right. But before we say goodbye, just let everybody know where they can find you, and I would love to have round number two. When you have some time, because
Absolutely.
we can get into some. I love it that we're going down
Yeah.
these things that those that shouldn't be named. We're going down, which I love. So
Yes, absolutely. Well, everybody, you can find me at Primal Fox Health, and it's the same Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever. But I'm most prominent, predominantly active on Instagram. The rest of them, you might catch glimpses of me.
wow. Make sure you follow her. She's got up and our car conversations when they pop up. It's I can feel the wisdom through the post.
Mm,
Like it's
good stuff.
beautiful and that was actually what got me excited to talk to you about this kind of stuff because we often have like there's people that you start getting deep and they go
Mm,
I can't handle the
yeah,
truth and I don't even know what the truth
yeah.
is but
That's the
uh,
whole purpose of exploration and conversation and being willing to hear it.
yeah
It's like the other awareness is my truth might not be your truth, you know? And that's okay too, people. Like that's okay.
yeah yeah. And I agree because we should be able to disagree with exploration in mind. And when we're having a
Exactly.
conversation about something, and I know people listening to this, you might think we're batshit crazy. Good,
Yeah,
check
I
it out.
probably lost a bunch of followers.
Dig into it. Like
Yeah,
like I hope you check out my lunch break. We'll talk about it next time we talk.
I
Okay.
will. I will
Awesome.
for sure.
Okay, Selena. Thank you so
Yes,
much. This is a
of
new
course.
adventure for me, having conversations with wicked interesting people. So I'm
Yes.
thankful
I
and
love
blessed.
it.
Thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
you too, love.